part of the reason why I'm going with this approach is I was reading an article, I don't remember the one, maybe I'll look it up and put it in the description, but it talked about 3 elements of, I think it was talking about physical training, but I believe this applies to learning a new skill, physical training. I don't know if I made that worse or not. Anything really. And it has 3 concepts or elements. Frequency, which is more important than duration, which is more important than intensity. With the most important being frequency. And it's something I've been thinking about a lot. And I have to reread the article, but what I've been thinking about in relation is that frequency is how often you do something per whatever period of time you want to define or measure, per week, running 5 times per week, 3 times a week, once per day, whatever you want to measure. Playing guitar 4 times a day, 5 minutes at a time. And that's more important than saying, I'm going to play guitar 1 hour per week instead of, 15 minutes a day. 15 minutes a day is going to be more effective than that 1 time per week. And same thing with physical training, though, although you have a physical limit of how often you actually can do something. That limit being your body. But that frequency, that high frequency and low intensity, will allow you to do something more often, which you're going to get better gains than cramming, because you physically can't cram exercise into a chunk and think it's going to be the same as a broken up. That's just not how that works, because when we sleep is when we recover, both mentally and physically, and that has a period of 24 hours. Do it once per day. We go on a sleep cycle and our body recovers, heals, does whatever it needs to do. But if you focus on frequency first, you also build habit. And habit is a very powerful mental tool to keep you going at something. Like right now, if I didn't have a habit of running, I would not be out here in the rain. But I enjoy it. I ran in the rain. I hope this isn't messing with the lens. I've run in the rain plenty of times. I know what it's like, and I like it now. But because I want to keep the habit of running, I choose to do this. So it's developed discipline, which is far more important than just being motivated. So you have that end of the spectrum, frequency and intensity, with discipline being more closely related to frequency and motivation with intensity. Usually people get motivated, they go work real hard one time and then they're done. But at the same time, you also have the concept of volume. Say with push-ups. Say you can max out at, say, 10 push-ups, just as a nice round number. If you do 10 push-ups, you're done. You're gassed. You're not going to be able to do another one for a while. Well, volume comes into play with frequency, in that, say you do 50 to 80% of your maximum. you do 5 push-ups and you're feeling okay. You're not burnt out. And you do 5 push-ups twice a day, every day. Well, instead of doing 10 once, you're burned out. You can't do another for 2 days. You're gonna have more push-ups done per week than if you go for a high intensity type exercise. So that's how that relates to volume. But also there's a central nervous system element of the actual movement itself is where you develop your first gains. When you have no, let's see, when you're not proficient in movement, even running, there's proficiency, economy of motion. Mile 2, 11:44. Even playing an instrument, you have that economy of motion. The proficiency, your central nervous system has to pair with your brain to learn how to move your fingers, how to move your hands, how to have that fine motor control. Same thing with exercising. That there's a motion that's being developed. And you're going to do that in the most efficient way. But it's also important for injuries that you do it properly. So frequency is very important. That's one of the most important elements that you should be focusing on when training for anything. Is focus on maximizing how often you can do something smartly. You don't want to, run 20 times a day. Why? But what's the most reasonable frequency you can do something? Focus on that. And then as you develop that over time, weeks, months, increase the duration. Go from a 10-minute walk to 15, 20, 30. And then, if you have a particular goal in mind, like you want to run a race, competition, you can increase intensity in periods of time. Once a week, you go for an intense run. You go for an intense workout, intense training session. But intensity comes with risks, which is why you need to be proficient first.